What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today is team selection time for game week 6. So as always, going to take you through how I did in game week 5, how I'm looking for game week 6 as well, including any transfers, captaincy, that kind of thing. Now, I did wildcard in game week 5, so I'm going to run through my wildcard team, why I hit the button, and what mistakes I think I may have made. Now, I didn't talk about this at all during the international break. A lot of people seem to think that I did that as a suspense thing. I didn't want people to see my wild card, and I hit the button at 10:56 a.m. on the deadline stream. But I can tell you now that wasn't my intention, just to build up suspense. It would have been much better for me to milk it over the international break, do a few wild card videos and stuff like that. But I just decided late on that it was the right decision to make. So I'm going to run through the team. So if you enjoy this type of video, please do give it a like. Support is always appreciated. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. On our way to 125k, hopefully by the end of the season. And before we jump into it, let's talk about OneFootball. So really happy to have OneFootball continue to team up with Let's Talk FPL on the team selection videos. If you've not already tried it out, as I mentioned before, it's a completely free football app. No reason not to download it. Give it a go and see what you think. There's a link in the description below. It'll take you straight through to the Android or iOS store. One of the things I love about it is all the goal notifications, especially when you're not watching the match. So this week there was loads. Son goals, Kane goals, Salah goals. It was good all round. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin got his goal as normal. As well as that, you're going to get lineup news, team news, all the latest breaking news and all that kind of thing as well. So well worth giving it a go. There's a few stats on there too. So link in the description below if you want to try it out. Make sure you do. Like I said, completely free. Give it a go. See what you think. So this is the wildcard team. This section will probably be a little bit longer than normal when I do the review, just because I obviously haven't talked about this wildcard team on a video yet, other than the knee-jerk stream. So game week 5 went pretty well. 83 points overall, a rank of 204,000. Now, of course, I'd rather be in the top 100k, I'd rather be in the top 10k, I'd rather be in the top 1k at this point. But 204k, if you'd offer me that for game week 5 before the start of the season, I'd be pretty happy with that. Obviously, I don't have my wild card intact now. I'm not going to be able to use it around the double game weeks that are probably going to come around game week 19, which could be a problem, but we don't 100% know that. So I'm hoping it's not as brutal as some people are expecting, and obviously I'll be able to use transfers around that as well. But one of the reasons that I popped the wildcard, to be honest, I kind of, in some ways you could say I made a mistake, right? Because I used 2 transfers very early on in the international break for a -4. So I took out Luke Shaw, which was a good result in the end, and Che Adams as well, which wasn't. He went on to score and do pretty well this weekend against Chelsea. But I took both them out for a -4, and I bought in Ayling from Leeds and not Che Adams, and Morpay for Brighton for a -4. The problem then came that De Bruyne got injured, and this is one of the risks for making early transfers, and I definitely will temper the amount of early transfers I do from here on out, because I don't have the wild card to bail me out. And so I wanted to get Son in. I would have captained Son, and to be fair, that would have been a good result because he outscored Salah, but I wouldn't have had Kane, etc. And ultimately, I was thinking, if I wildcard, I'm going to get Kane in, I'm going to get Grealish in, I'm still going to get Morpay, I'm still going to get Son, I'm still going to get my Leeds defender, I'm going to change the goalkeeper. And part of me was saying, you've already made 3 transfers for a -8, that's done. So all you're really doing is wildcarding for Kane. But then when I thought about it a little bit more, I had to tell myself, well, the hit would be cancelled, and I've made lots and lots of changes. So players in this team that weren't in my original one: Martinez, Dallas, Reguilon, Son, Kane, Morpay, Grealish, Lamptey on the bench as well, and Forster, which I'll talk about in a minute. So overall, I made quite a lot of changes, and I just felt if I took the -8, I'd get in Son. I wouldn't have Kane. I fancied Kane for captain in this week as well. And I knew if I brought him in, I would captain him. And obviously, I like the look of the next few fixtures. So I kept saying Spurs are overperforming, or Kane and Son are. And I still believe that. The thing is, the fixtures they have, I still said they were good options. And there's a chance they'll keep overperforming for these 3 before they get into their tougher fixtures and the points start to come down a bit. So I kind of wanted Kane and Son in. Let's talk about particular picks. Aston Villa defence is just looking good. Martinez the best goalkeeper, I think, because I don't know about paying still like 4.9 million or whatever for the likes of Mings and Cash. So I still prefer going for cheaper defenders from other teams. I've spoken about that a lot, right? Lamptey and Dallas. So I switched Ayling to Dallas because a lot of Leeds fans seem to prefer Dallas, and the fact he was nailed on. One of the things they didn't want to go for him early on was because he wasn't necessarily nailed, but they didn't sign a new left back. So he should be fine going forward now. I actually wonder if I made a mistake there, because I watched the game. I know Dallas, looks more attacking. He comes into midfield, etc. at times. But when I watch Leeds games, I actually still prefer Ayling. So I don't know if I made a slight mistake there, but overall, neither of them got any points. last night. The one mistake I made, and if you watch the deadline stream, I said this straight away, right? I was pretty happy with the team. I didn't feel like there was any mistakes in there, apart from Reguilon, right? I took out Saiss, who I'd had of 5 million. He'd gone up to 5.1. Now he's gone up to 5.2. So I would have made some money on him. And I took him out for Reguilon, knowing full well that Wolves' defence is pretty good and Spurs not very good for clean sheets right now. I was just backing the next 4 fixtures. The kind of mistake that I made that I didn't really think about enough, and to be fair, most of the team was already in my head when I wildcarded, so it wasn't much of a panic even though I wildcarded at 10.56, right? Anyone that watched, I wasn't really panicking about it. I had the team set up. But the Reguilon move was a bit of a panic because, yes, Spurs had great fixtures, but to be fair, so did Wolves. They've just kept a clean sheet last night. Maybe Leeds should have scored, but then it's Newcastle at home and Palace at home. So only that one extra fixture against West Brom is actually better for Spurs. Now, to be fair, for 82 minutes of the Spurs game, I was pretty happy. Reguilon had an assist. Spurs hadn't conceded. He was on for maybe 11, or he wouldn't have got 12 points because Kane was miles ahead on the bonus. But he could have got 2 points or 1 point. So he would have been on for 10 or 11 points. I was pretty happy. But obviously they conceded 3. Absolutely ridiculous. But he is quite attacking. He's created 5 chances already in 2 games, I think it is. So I'm hoping he can get me some more going forward. And hopefully Spurs can figure out how to keep a goddamn clean sheet. Because the next 3 fixtures are good. So maybe one mistake. But overall, really happy with the team. I think Kane and Sonic just ride the wave. Knowing full well that after the next 3 game weeks, I might look to ship off 1 or 2 of them. For maybe better fixture players like Aguero, Sterling, whoever it might be. And also, some of the players I took out, right? So Che Adams did well. I would have transferred him out anyway. I did transfer him out anyway, right? So he would have been gone anyway. Saiss was a bit of a mistake. Luca Dean, 7 points against Liverpool, frustrating. But I was thinking about benching him anyway for Ayling. So I wouldn't have actually played him anyway. So that wasn't so bad. And I think that's about most of the points that I took out from this team. So a few of my players did do well that I took out. But I'm pretty confident with this team overall going forward. So I'm pretty happy with it. And the one thing with Luca Dean is I wanted to take some money out of my defence. I just felt like 6 million was too much. And obviously he's got Southampton and Newcastle next, so he could do really well, especially against Southampton. If they push up, he could push on and get ahead. But ultimately, I've got Lamptey and Dallas now as rotation between Leeds and Brighton, which I quite like. I do think they rotate pretty well. So I'm happy with the wild card. I don't have it now for there is going to be double game weeks probably around game week 19, and we're not going to find out those fixtures probably until like game week 16, 17. So there's not going to be too much time for us to kind of adapt to that when we don't have a wild card. But there's always a chance you'll already have the players in that you'll want. So part of me just thinks I would have taken a -8 now. So if I get to that position in the double game weeks where I need to take a -8, well, I didn't take it there and I can just take it there instead. And hopefully over the next few weeks, playing the wildcard will get me a bunch more points, especially with those Spurs boys. So we'll see how it goes. Let's talk about game week 6. And also, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of my wildcard team? Is it good? Is it bad? So obviously the game week 6 team is going to be the same as the game week 5 team, barring transfers, which I'll talk about as I go. But I want to talk about some players that I maybe didn't mention in the review section. So one free transfer, of course, on the back of a wild card, 101.5 million squad value and 0.5 in the bank. So that could have been $1 million in the bank if I'd kept Saiss. I think the fact that I had money in the bank probably pushed me to change him to one of the 5.5. So I was looking at Semedo, Reguilon or Chilwell. I know Chilwell's a little bit more expensive now. If I didn't have that money in the bank, I would have been perfectly happy keeping Saiss. That's probably a lesson learned, right? You don't have to spend all your money. Saiss has already outscored Reguilon and he could do it over the next 2 game weeks as well. But enough of that. Fingers crossed for the Spurs defence going forward. Martinez in goal. Like I said, I think Villa defence is really good to the point where I'd actually consider at some point maybe doubling up. I think the value is that good. Now for my team, I've got Lamptey and Dallas rotation, so I've just wildcard. I'm not going to be looking to spend transfers on 4.5 million defenders. If I was looking to bring one in, I already had Martinez. I don't know if I would be that bothered about doubling up on Villa. I know double ups are kind of bad for the heart when you're watching the games, right? You don't want the clean sheet to go. But I just think their stats are so good for defence now, and it has been for long enough where I do think they've massively improved. And we can say they're a pretty good defence right now. Are they the best in the league? Absolutely not. But they are very good, right? So I think a double up isn't beyond question. So Martinez really happy with. Lamptey is frustrating because Brighton are just not keeping clean sheets. West Brom are not great at scoring goals, so fingers crossed there's one this week. But he's great going forward. I looked at 4.5 million defenders, or around the 4.5 mark, for Brighton, Villa and Leeds, right? They were the 3 teams that I was looking to target. And Lamptey, they'd all played about similar minutes, right? Lamptey about 20 minutes more. But obviously he's come off a few times in games. That's why, although he's played an extra game over the likes of Villa, his minutes aren't actually that much different. And I checked that before the matches. So Lamptey's created the most chances out of all the players I checked, including like Ayling, Dallas, Target and Cash. And he'd also had top for shots in the box. I think he was the same as Mings. So overall, his attacking stats look really good. And you can see that with the eye test, right? He's getting really far forward, playing as a wing back, which is decent. And hopefully he can get some attacking returns against West Brom, as well as finally a clean sheet. So I'm happy enough with him. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I'll quickly talk about, because a lot of people are thinking about shipping the Liverpool defence. Now, I'm not panicking just yet. Adrian, I think, is only going to play for a maximum of 3 games in the Premier League before Alisson is back. So Sheffield United at home, decent. West Ham at home could be decent, although West Ham are doing very well attacking wise, especially with Antonio up front. And then it's Man City away. And to be honest, if I had a Liverpool defender, I wouldn't have been expecting any points. Anything they get against Man City is a bonus anyway. So the fact if they blank, whatever, they would have done that, or I would have been banking on that anyway, whether Adrian or Alisson was in goal. So for me, obviously I've just wildcarded, so it's a bit different. If I was on a wildcard now for Game Week 6, would I consider going without? I probably would, and I'd probably bung that money up in attack instead. And at some point, like, my idea is to roll over some transfers at some point, so I got 2 freebies. I might use money from Trent Alexander-Arnold to upgrade an attacker, right? That's in the back of my mind, maybe to upgrade Grealish or Mopay or whoever it might be. But right now, I'm just not panicking for Sheffield United at home. They are not a good goal-scoring team. There is obviously the narrative and the story there that Brewster's going to start his first game. It's going to be against his former club. He's going to score the winner in a 1-0 or whatever it might be. But ultimately, Sheffield United not good in attack. Liverpool, pretty good defence. I mean, they've got Matip back now, so he's not as good as Van Dijk, but that is a big boost to Liverpool. So having Matip and Gomez is pretty decent. Obviously, they've still got Robertson and Trent. And yeah, okay, Adrian's goal is not great, but I think Sheffield United at home is a good fixture. So I might consider getting rid of Trent. Like, I'm not kind of so attached to him, I'll never sell him. But I don't think the right move is to do it this week. So the midfield is looking pretty good. The one thing I did consider doing was going for Pulisic instead of Grealish. So if I'd wildcarded early in the international break and caught the price rises of Martinez and Kane, I would have been able to keep Saiss and get Pulisic instead of Grealish. I'm not sure I'm actually too worried about that right now. I did want to get Pulisic, but I just knew first game back, let's see how he was. I knew I wouldn't be happy if he blanked and then had Man United away in the next game. And I know Man United not great defensively right now, but I still don't think that's a great fixture for Chelsea necessarily. So he could do well, and if you've got him, obviously you're definitely going to play him. But I think he's someone I might look in to get down the line. Like when Ziyech is actually fully back and starting, when he's starting, etc. Let's see who the best player is. Just because Ziyech and Pulisic are starting doesn't mean that Havertz won't be the best midfielder to go for from Chelsea. So I need to see a few more games before I can assess that. So pretty happy with Grealish right now. I've seen the videos doing the rounds of how good he is. And obviously for Villa, he's brilliant. I don't know if that would translate into a huge amount of FPL points necessarily. I mean, he did pretty well last year. If he gets penalties, which I don't think he will, I think Barkley might do it, but we just don't know that for sure. If he gets penalties, he could be decent. So obviously they've got a good run of fixtures. The thing I like about him, right, he's the talisman of that team. At least we think that now. Maybe Barkley will take over that mantle, but I doubt it. So he is the talisman. Everything goes through him. And he got great fixtures coming up. He's going to play every game. So right now for 7.1 million, which is what I bought him at, that's a pretty good price. At some point I might upgrade him, but right now I'm pretty happy. James Rodriguez, like, just doing nothing wrong for me. Another return in the last game. Okay, I think he got a yellow card, so it came down to 4 points, no bonus points. But it was against Liverpool, right? I would have been expecting a blank in most games against Liverpool, so pretty happy with that. And going forward, the fixtures are still good, so no reason to get rid of him. And Son just looking incredible right now. Like, he's definitely not stuck to that wing. As I said pre-season, when Son plays, he gets returns. It's as simple as that. When he's fit, he plays, he scores points. Job done. Obviously his price is going up again now, so it went down, then it went up, then it went down, now it's back up again. It's 9.3 million. He still looks like a great option for the next 3 weeks. So if you're wavering over bringing him in, I don't really see much of a reason not to. Maybe if you're taking out like a Sterling versus West Ham, that's not a good move. But for the next 3, if you've got an easy way to get Son, definitely looks good. And I've got Salah down as captain, so he did score against Everton. Pretty nice finish, to be fair. I've looked at the underlying numbers, right, and I know eye test, he's doing well, he's scoring goals, but his non-penalty expected goals is actually quite low. There's 16 players ahead of him, including Mane, who's doubled that pretty much, and played a game less. So from open play, Salah maybe not, from a stats perspective, looking that great. But I think when I watch him, he's looking pretty decent. He's getting into good positions as he does. We know he likes to shoot. Mane does look incredible. I think we've seen this for so many, probably the last season, if not the season before now. at times Mane just looks better, right? And a lot of people would say he is the better player anyway. He gets into really good positions. He has less shots, but he has better quality shots. But we know Salah is creating loads of chances, right? His expected goal involvement, by the way, I think is second highest or maybe third highest in the league. So he's creating a lot of chances as well as getting scoring opportunities. So that's really good as well. And from open play, Mane does look good, but we know Salah's got those penalties to fall back on as well. So obviously I'm not, definitely not looking to make the switch, and still going to captain because it's Sheffield United at home. I don't think they're as good defensively as they were last year. Ramsdale just not as good as Dean Henderson. It's still going to be a pretty tough game for them, but right now my captaincy is on him. But I could change it to a Spurs player, which I'll talk about in a second when I bring in the forwards. Okay, so the forwards here, right? Calvert-Lewin, we do not need to speak about. Hasn't blanked at all yet. It's a bit frustrating that he keeps getting one goal and then no bonus points, right? And you might say that's very greedy, but I think so, often with strikers, right, we need to get those bonus points in to just get their score up, right? If a midfielder gets an assist and a clean sheet, that's the same points as a striker scoring a goal. So it would be nice for him to get a couple of bonus points. But obviously it's tough against Liverpool when they're scoring as well. You need a few games to nail with him being one of the main contenders. The only thing is, James Rodriguez is very good for bonus when he gets attack and returns usually. So if they are going to win to nil, he's going to come into play as well. So it's going to be difficult for Calvert-Lewin to pick up too many, but it would be nice to get a few more. Maupay, right, I didn't talk about him when I did the wildcard review. So frustrating for anyone that watched, like put themselves through watching that Crystal Palace game. Crystal Palace, right, absolutely horrible team to watch, at least in that game, right? They defended from the off, they got their lead for a penalty that should never have been, and then that's it, they defended for their life. But at one point, I mean, Maupay's XG for that game was 0.5, I think, or 0.49, which is pretty good, right? If he had that every game on average, right, he'd do pretty well this season, I'd say. But there was one point where he was through on goal, there was a defender to his left, but not close enough to affect him, and he could have put it either side of the keeper, right? He had a free shot basically, and he decided to turn in on his left and then turn back on his right. And by that point, the defenders, I think there was two defenders on him at that point, and he did get a shot away, but it got blocked, right? And rightly so. So frustrating to just not take the chance, right? Maybe that's something I need to keep an eye on. I'm not necessarily saying he's a long-term pick anyway. I did say I'd be going towards maybe having 3 cheap strikers, but Kane kind of changed that plan a bit. So if I'm still looking to bring Antonio in game week 8, it could be for Maupay or it could be for Kane. Kane, probably not in game week 8 because he's got West Brom, but maybe the week after or something like that. Maybe I'll give Antonio another game. But Maupay is going to have to do something special against West Brom now because he's frustrated the hell out of me versus Crystal Palace. Ultimately, I'll probably keep him for a 3 game week spell anyway. But yeah, hoping he gets something here. West Brom, not a great defence. And like I said, Brighton are creating plenty of chances, especially through Lamptey, etc. I think Maupay had like 5 shots or something. Something like that against Crystal Palace. So just that one chance, so frustrating. Harry Kane looking great right now. Not only is he getting plenty of shots off, he's also creating so many chances. He's beaten the most amount of assists he's ever had in a season already, and it's game week 6 right now. He's had 5 game weeks, he's already beaten the most assists. Now, again, he's probably overperformed a little bit, got a bit lucky against Southampton, etc. But his kind of distribution is so good, right? And he's getting plenty of shots as well. He just looks like a great all-round player right now. I am considering captaining him because Burnley are probably going to be without me again, right? So it's him versus Salah. The only thing is, it's so close. I usually always come back to the attacker. But goal threat-wise, at least from the numbers, Kane is looking a little bit better than Salah right now. And that's one of the reasons I captained Kane over Son as well. Again, for non-penalty XG, Kane's looking better than Son, plus he has penalties as well, and he's creating chances. So he only just beat Son, to be fair, in the last game. Obviously, he had to get an extra return to do that. But it is something I'm considering going for Harry Kane as well. Because I know Salah will be the most captain. And when it's that close, maybe I'll do what I did last week and go for the one that's a little bit different. The fact that Kane just got 16 points and has got so many points already this season probably means a lot more people will captain him this week. But it's very close. I think if Salah didn't have penalties, I'd definitely go for Kane. But the fact that he does, he's also playing a weak team as well. And they're obviously going to want to, in some ways, like some people will say maybe they've got to attack even more now without Van Dijk because they know they're going to concede a few more goals. I'm not sure that's what's going to be going through their heads. Maybe not as a team, but individually, potentially, who knows? So Salah and Kane are both great options this week. Salah was always my captain the whole way through for this game week and for West Ham next week. I probably should just stick with what I thought of already. You know, plenty of people are going to bring in Kane and Son this week, but they're not going to be differentials, of course, but they're not going to be 100% effective ownership, I don't think. And by the way, just a quick stat because I looked it up yesterday. If Kane gets 3 FPL points per game week for the rest of the season, he will beat last season's overall score. That's how many points he's already scored this season. Also, it was a fairly low score last year, but he's absolutely on one. If he can stay injury free, it's going to be a plus 200 point season for him for sure. He's just looking great right now. Obviously, it will go down a bit with the trickier fixtures they got coming up around game week 9 and 10, but let's see how they do on the counter. With him playing balls into Son, it could be pretty devastating. So yeah, captaincy-wise, I am currently on Salah, but I do think Kane is a great option this week. And of course, Son is as well. They're probably the 3 best. Although when I talk about it in the captaincy video, there are plenty of other options, Man City players as well, which I don't have. I should quickly touch on that, I suppose. I probably overlook Man City's fixtures a bit because I'm looking at Liverpool saying Sheffield United at home, West Ham at home, good. And I've kind of missed that Man City also have West Ham away and Sheffield United away. So they're playing the same 2 teams. But with De Bruyne out, and obviously I didn't know if Aguero was going to start the last game. That worries me a bit. But they could do really well over the next 2 fixtures. And it's not like I'm looking to go without Man City players forever. I will look to bring them in at some point, perhaps for Harry Kane straight to Aguero or Harry Kane to fund a move to Sterling. So I'm definitely not writing off Man City anytime soon. But for the next few fixtures, I'm hoping I can get away with it. That's it for this one. Thanks very, very much for watching. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but obviously with the wildcard and the fact I've not done any previous videos on it, I want to talk about it in a little bit more detail. So it's probably a longer team selection than it normally will be. We'll be back to the normal stuff next week. I didn't really kind of say it in there, but obviously I'm looking to make no transfer this week. Hopefully that wildcard team can see me through. I really want to get to a point where I'm banking 2 transfers because in a few game weeks' time, there's going to be some tough decisions when it comes to Chelsea players, Man City players and stuff like that as well. So I need 2 free transfers to maybe move some cash around because Harry Kane, I love him right now, but I don't know if I'm going to keep him longer term. But we'll have to wait and see about that. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Trying to hit 125k. And do download OneFootball if you haven't already. Completely free app for your phone, Android or iOS. Click that link in the description below and that will take you straight through to download it. Just one quick mention to our Patreons at patreon.com/letstalkfpl. Thanks to everyone that is supporting the channel right now. I do my early team reveals over there. All my videos converted to podcasts, Slack access, WhatsApp access, all that good stuff. And anyone that signs up goes on the Patreon Legends wall as well. So thanks very much to everyone that has already signed up. I skipped a wall there, but appreciate that. And obviously a shout out to Matthew S and Oliver S that have signed up since the last video as well. Hope you enjoy all the extra content and stuff like that. I will have a Q&A video up over on there today as well on Tuesday before another one on Friday as well if you sign up to the middle tier. So make sure to check that out. There's a link in the description below to that as well. I'll leave it there. Please do like the video. Please do hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you tomorrow for another video.